A desperate red-crowned crane was plunging from the sky. At the critical moment, a nearby boy saw it and rushed over to save her. He gently touched her wounds, but the frightened crane would not let a human approach. Even when food was placed in front of her, she refused to eat and only hid in the corner. Wanting to help, the boy gathered fresh straw and made a warm, comfortable nest for her. At last, the crane realized he meant no harm and fell into a deep sleep. While she slept, the boy checked her injuries. Because she refused food, her recovery was slow. Then he thought of an idea. He hung two folded paper cranes from a tree branch and made them spin in circles, like two cranes dancing together in love. The crane watched without blinking, as if hope had suddenly returned to her life. The boy understood her loneliness and only wished for her to heal soon. Not long after, rain fell over the village again. By then, under the boy's careful care, the crane had regained enough strength to move normally. But when she looked out at the rain, painful memories came rushing back. Long ago, she had met her husband at Crescent Lake. They fell in love just as the flock was preparing to migrate. They promised to leave together the next morning. But that night, a violent storm struck. The fierce wind threw the cranes off course. She clung tightly to her husband, but they could not fight the storm's power. First they were blown into the lake, then the rushing waters tore them apart. She flew upward desperately searching for him. When she finally saw him, she dived down to save him, but she was one moment too late. A whirlwind caught her and dragged her away. As he watched his beloved disappear, the male crane cried out in sorrow. When she finally escaped and returned, her husband was gone. A falling tree nearly crushed her into the water. Waves slammed her beneath tangled roots. She fought her way back to the surface and cried helplessly into the empty distance. The next morning, after the storm had passed, she awoke and immediately searched for him. She flew everywhere, calling his name. Once she saw something white floating far away and rushed toward it, only to discover it was watergrass. She searched for a long time but found nothing. Looking at the endless sky, she could not accept losing him. She also knew she could not migrate alone. In despair, she flew 1,000 meters into the air, gave one final cry, and plunged downward, hoping to die for love. Fortunately, the boy had saved her. From then on, she stayed beside him. Time passed, and one day the flock returned to the village to breed again. Yet seeing the others brought her no happiness. Wanting to cheer her up, the boy invented a crane dance, copying the graceful movements of her kind. He spun and leaped around her with great excitement. Watching his lifelike dance, the female crane closed her eyes and imagined herself dancing once more with her husband. For a moment, it felt as if he had truly returned. She realized she could not remain trapped in sorrow forever. At last, she decided to let go. But just then, the boy heard the cry of another crane nearby. From the other side of the field, a male crane flew urgently toward them. It was her husband. He had never given up searching for her either. Though neither of them had ever believed they would meet again, they rushed into each other's wings before the boy's eyes. From that day on, they were never separated again.